take tier 4?
No, I was told that here's the original request right here. It's just, I was wondering if you can let me know if I was trying to continue my PTSD counseling here. And I was wondering if you could let me know if I have any chances of PTSD counseling, or does the tier programs offer that? Thank you. And it says you don't qualify for the tier program, right, for second chance program through CC Eagleson, and which I did.
Oh, I have December.
And I have that request. I have that request from Eagleson right here. And then I did fill out the application.
Hold on a second.
So DOC has an operating record of December 2nd, 2024. He proceeds to participate in the tier 4.
Okay, so Mr. Krasuski, for some reason, your DOC record shows that in December you refused the tier 4 program, which is what prompted my question.
Yeah, I never refused. I never signed any refusal for it. No.
Okay.
I have the papers right here. I can go.
On the 3.
Here's the one from Eagleson right here, and the other one right here, signed from Dixon Services. And here I have here we go right here. There's another one from Eagleson for Pathways Home. Another group I tried to get into and said, unfortunately, you do not qualify for Pathways at this time. So that's one said I didn't qualify for that because I wasn't close enough to going home at the time. That's another one. And then another one here for Lieutenant Bullet, who there's a posted sign in the building that says to write Olet for that. Lieutenant Olet knows me, by the way. I know him from the last time I was here. And this is also for the second chance program. And he told me to write Eagleson also, which I did several times.
Thank you for the follow. Highly appreciate that.
So
Officer Williams, I'm sorry, Ms. Zappo. Who is the addiction counselor or supervisor there in that facility, Officer Williams?
It should be Council Supervisor Eagleson or Council Supervisor Such would handle those type of programs.
So who are the people that he's
That's Eagleson I wrote right here. She wrote me back. And I did what I told was told.
Hold on 1 second. I can't hear. What was that, Barry?
Hold up.
I was asking, his letters seem to indicate that he's asking for other things. And she's saying that you don't qualify for this, that, and the third. Or he. I'm not sure which one, which gender.
So they don't qualify for the tier program.
Sure. Just give us a minute.
I'm sorry. You were talking to me. I'm sorry.
No, I'm talking to you.
I apologize.
Radio that old timer, whippersnapper.
But so I don't know the letters or the dates that he has on his paperwork,
Okay.
but the information that our records indicate as of December of last year, he refused to participate in the program. Can you tell us who entered that information in?
There's no way for me to tell who exactly entered that information from this RT screen. But more specifically, it was December 2nd, 2024. And there's a note that it just says refused program for the tier 4 program.
Okay.
I need to check the date on this.
Actually, there is an instructor's name attached to this.
Okay.
But there's none of the council supervisors' names that is here.
This request is 1210 that I have 24 for where it says you don't qualify. That's 1210.
But you don't qualify for second chance. You don't qualify
for the tier program. No, this is the one I wrote for the tier program. Then they said they told me to write Eagleson for the tier program, which I did. And I have that. And then she said to fill out the application, which I did. And that was just recently. I haven't heard back from her yet.
Okay.
So I think I have to go to. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have all that right here. I have all of them right here. Every one of them.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry about the confusion. But that's the 10 that it says right there. 12-10-24.
Thank you.
And then
I apologize, Ms. Zappo.
This is 1725 is when this Eagleson said, please fill out the attached form, which I did and sent it back. That's what she sent me back, if you can see that.
I can't see it. I can see
All right.
writing. I don't know what it says,
Right.
but
It's 1-7, so it was only a few weeks after the initial.
okay. Please allow Ms. Zappo to continue with her questions, okay?
Sorry about that.
I don't think they're gonna let him out.
I think that based on everything you're saying, the fact that you are documented as refusing Tier 4 was confusing to me, because it does seem like you're doing the work in order to prepare for release, and you have taken steps to do that through your mental health and your addiction on the outside. Programs on the inside would just be benefiting from that. So that's why I didn't understand that notation.
Can I just say, I just want to let you know, I'm taking, this is not, I don't take any of this lightly, what I got myself into and what I'm up against. This is very serious. I have, like I said, my son is my whole life, and it's just him and I, against the world, I guess you could say, when I get out. It's my responsibility to make sure he's okay, and I don't want to fail myself or him.
Right, and I think that that's great motivation, as I mentioned to you. But the review that we do for suitability has many pieces. And
Yes.
one of the ones that I want to talk about, again, as a man who's in his late 50s, you've had opportunities for community supervision in the past, and you've only been successful a few times. You are going to have probation for this time, and that probation is going to put you into your early 60s with somebody in your life telling you and monitoring and supervising you. Do you feel that you're at a point, Mr. Krasuski, where you're going to accept and embrace that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
And
do.
tell me what that looks like to you. How do you envision that person and how that person is going to fit into your life?
The person meaning me, you're saying?
Your probation officer.
Okay, probation officer. I'm sorry. Well, to be honest with you, ma'am, I had asked to get a couple of years extra because I felt I needed the supervision when I got out, and I was actually trying to get a little. I forget what it's called now. I don't want to confuse, but I had tried to get 5 years probation. I was trying to get. But they wouldn't. They would stay. They stayed with the original offer that it only gave me 3 because after speaking to my family, my mom and dad, and my fiance, I probably am going to need it. After the parole, if I'm granted parole, I was very successful on my last parole. I never had one single issue. I worked full time the whole time I was on it. I always submitted my paychecks and.
What do you guys think? Is he
I
lying?
seem to do good on it, and I think I'm going to be successful this time. I just have a different outlook on the whole thing right now. I don't want to fail, and I think it'll help me to not fail.
So the one observation that I'm going to make, Mr. Krasuski, is that you seem motivated, and I understand the challenges of having a child at a very vulnerable age who's already lost one parent, and your parents are alive, and you have stable employment promised outside of the field where you've experienced addiction issues before. But I'm also concerned that you have to be entirely committed to, and this is going to sound harsh, but you do have to continue to put yourself first ahead of all of this.
Yeah.
In terms of your recovery, because the minute that falls off, then you are no good to your son, to your parents, to yourself. So
Thank you.
my last question is, you seem to have an emerging release plan. You have the job, you have the family support, you've identified counseling, you have a sponsor. How are you going to weave all this together? Tell me about that first week out in the community. Are you going to meetings? How are you going to adjust out there?
It's funny you asked that because I was just talking to my fiance last night, and the Fiat Foundation is I was in my building that I would go to was on Congress Avenue, and they just are moving to Guilford, which is even better for me because I don't have to go down into the belly of the beast, I guess you could call it, right? And so she's finding out how I can have everything, if I need to change any of my initial to get back in, to get back involved with them, if anything changes, or do I just go there and do? And they said I have to do an intake out there when I get out. So that would be the first day. If I know you have to go to Parole first. If I have time to go there, that's what my priority is, to get out there and get signed up with them and get back into my counseling as soon as possible, because I've never went to one-on-one counseling before, and it was very beneficial to me. I've never spoken, and I've never opened up to anybody about things I've been through, and it seemed to really help me. I never realized I had PTSD as bad as I do until they told me, and that's my day one, is to go there and see my son, obviously spend some time with my family, and then hopefully my sponsor, if he's not working that night, whatever day it falls on, he's going to take me to a meeting. And there's a breakfast meeting on my first weekend that we're going to go spend a day at the there's a club, there's a 12-step club he wants to take me to.
I thought he was
go
going to
eat
go
there,
party.
and they have several meetings throughout the day. So that's my first few days. I don't know how, depending on the timing and stuff, that's the only thing that would change any of that.
Right. No, that sounds like a plan. I mean, these crimes were serious in terms of offenses on, property, and then obviously, weaving in the addiction piece. But it does sound like you have a plan in place. So I'm going to turn it back over to the chair in case anybody else has questions.
Thank you, Ms. Apple. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Could you pronounce your last name for me again, sir?
Krasuski.
Krasuski.
Yeah, 3 syllables. Krasuski.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to
I didn't want to be sure I pronounced it right. I didn't want to butcher your name. My concern is really center around your history, which is quite extensive.
Yes.
The fact that you've had 10 unsuccessful releases in the past.
10? Oh,
which concern me.
what?
And putting you back out again. You completed Voices, but in your opening statement, you focused so much on your son and your family, you didn't say anything about what you felt about the victims of these cases, and you stole quite a bit of stuff from them, up to $36,000 in one of the pieces of equipment that you stole. And you didn't even mention them at all.
I did read that.
And you took Voices, right?
Yeah, but you must not have heard me read that, sir. I did read that.
He did.
Yes, I'm sorry. I can read it again for you if you'd like. I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to. I take my.
I apologize.
I'll take your word for it. No problem.
I'm sorry.
I don't remember.
I think there's something wrong with this.
And then you have 4 additional incarcerations. What did you take programming when you were there those other times?
Yes.
Did you take Tier 4 or Tier 2?
Tier 2, yeah, I did Tier 2, and at Whaley Avenue, I was also when I was in New Haven Correctional last time. I did the Scared Straight program. I was involved in that. But this time during my incarceration, what really is burned into my head is the Voices and the individual counseling. It's really had an effect on me because it's more of intimate. And they really showed me where I was failing and where I was having a lot of faults in my life.
Thanks for that. And tell me, what is your additional support system separate from your sponsor?
My sponsor, I have 5 brothers and sisters who are all married, 14 nieces and nephews,
They all live
3
in the area?
children. all New Haven and Branford. One sister lives in Lebanon, Connecticut. But they're all, my brother's a detective he's a captain of detectives at Yale University who wants to probably beat me up right now.
Okay.
But
well, I hope he doesn't. But thank you very much.
No, I know, I'm only kidding. I'm just trying to make. Madam Chair, I'm done. Thank you, sir.
Oh, he's done all
Thank
right.
you, Mr. Rodriguez. So I just went back and checked the record. It says that your estimated date is June 26th of 26. I had the wrong year. So let the record be.
I thought it was 1 year. Yeah.
It is. So, Mr. Krasuski, you sound very motivated, as Ms. Zappo has pointed out, and you certainly do have incentives. Your criminal history and your failed releases. Do you know that you've had 13 opportunities on supervision out in the community, and guess how many of those you did completed successfully?
10. Zero.
I know. I kept getting reinstated. I was just caught in it was a bad, if you notice, it's always reinstated and then trailed it and reinstated again. It was a bad cycle I was in. And I can assure you, if I'm given a chance, I will not let Parole down or my family or myself down.
I'm sure you said that 13 times before.
The fact of the matter is, sir, that you will have a chance. You're not serving a life sentence. You do have probation to follow your sentence. You do have support in the community, and it sounds like you have a viable relapse prevention plan. I'm just not sure, though, that you have risen to a level that's warranting your early release, especially since you have not participated in the programming that we would like to have seen you participate in. You were on probation when you were committing all of these crimes. So, I'm going to talk this over with my colleagues and see what their thoughts are.
What are your thoughts, guys? You guys tell me what you guys think.
Discretionary parole, and please just sit there. Your time to speak is over, and we're going to discuss your case amongst ourselves. Okay? You can sit there and listen. Just don't interrupt, please.
Thank you very much.
Don't interrupt. Shut your mouth.
I don't know where you guys went. Are you there?
We're right here. We're 600 of us right here on this one, and 141 on the other.
So, in terms of Mr. Krasuski, I'm focusing on
like a tractor trailer or something,
and measuring the evidence of change through programming, both inside and outside, because he did say he started on the outside and then continued when he was at Whaley. The growth of that. The motivation, I think we've clearly seen is there. We've seen the identification of risk factors that he's identified, including the construction field and the propensity there to be dragged into addiction issues. And he's talked about the strategies in order to manage. So all of those go into the offender change block. And I think that he's done a good job today of doing that.
Thank you.
That is not to say that the record preceding Mr. Krasuski as he walked into this room to meet with us this morning
California is
was
way
not
harder.
Stellar. The criminal history, especially at the age in which he continued to commit the serious thefts and the robberies, was a concern to me. But I do believe that he has put a lot of effort into his release plan. He has identified supports. He has maintained a sponsor during this level of incarceration. He has the matter of his youngest child as a motivation. He has his parents, and as he discussed, he has an extensive family that is, by his admission, ready to support him. I think that I look at that as, in addition to his probation that would be coming, he has probably a dozen unofficial probation officers that are going to be monitoring him very closely. And so today I would like to offer that I am prepared with a grant to give us that opportunity to prove everybody wrong.
Very
in terms
dramatic.
of what the history says, and instead prove to us what that future looks like for him and his son.
Wait, he needs one more grant. It has to be 2 out of 3.
Mr. Rodriguez.
He's gonna say no.
Ooh,
that was a hater.
This is difficult. I mean, I do hear
that was he's rubbing his temples.
Hear his motivation today.
Man, I'm on pins and I can't take it.
So there have been some positive things that he's been able to lay out today. He did lay out his thinking around his therapy and wanting to work on himself and wanting to make himself better. He's done some preparatory work around that particular issue. I'm challenged by his priors and the fact that he didn't do well in prior releases, and those are really 2 sets of concerns for me. But I would be willing to give him an opportunity this time, considering he'd be going on discretionary parole, and he would be supervised, so that if he didn't make it, he'd find himself right back where he's at. I would have liked to see obviously a little bit more. But I think he's done some preparation work. He's got a sponsor. I'm going to be willing to support granting his discretion.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
He's going home.
So, for me, Mr. Krasuski's criminal history dates back to 1994. He's been committing these type of crimes: burglary, larcenies, violating his probation. I show over 47 arrests and or convictions.
47? Sheesh.
He was on probation when he committed this offense. While he does sound well here today, if his history is any kind of predictor of future behavior, I would say that this won't be the last we see of Mr. Krasuski. He failed 10 community releases. He has not, according to our records, he's not participated in the treatment in the facility. And I think that in his discussion with the parole officer, he was not honest about his substance abuse. He only listed he only told the officer about his Percocet use, and I had to go back to a prior file to see that he also used heroin and cocaine, and at one point he was also on the Suboxone and Methadone programs, which somehow didn't work out for him either. Just based on his history and his failure to comply during prior supervision, I cannot support his discretionary parole here today. I do feel that he does have the proper channels in line to complete the remainder of his probation successfully. He has the release plan, the relapse prevention, all that stuff that you all discussed that made you lean towards voting in his favor. He has all that stuff in place. And so for me, I really do believe that he has the support that he needs and therefore is not in need of the discretionary parole. So
yeah, she's denying him.
Again, Officer Williams, his parole eligibility date is excuse me,
2 out of 3. Yeah,
August 27. Is that right?
April.
I'm sorry.
April 27th.
I'm sorry, guys. April.
All right, April 27th, Madam Chair.
They keep on giving out kinds of dates.
And for conditions, what would you all like to see?
I'd like to.
April 27th.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he's already pursuing the mental health treatments. And he is noted that he cannot have alcohol anyway because of his medical conditions. I'm not sure what else we could do other than
conditions.
So I move that John Kozlowski 199198 be granted discretionary parole on or after his earliest eligibility, April 27, 2025, with standard parole conditions. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye. So, Mr. Kozlowski, this is a majority decision, sir. You will receive all of this in writing. We do wish you the best.
Thank you, and I won't let you down. I promise that I'm going to do my best.
We hope so.
Thank you so much.
I'm not going to sit in my job. I promise. Thank you very much.
199.
Thank you.
Officer Williams, can we
Well,
please take a 5-minute break?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Hey guys, they just restricted my account. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the stream. If you guys could jump over to YouTube at CollectCallFrom or hit that follow button. I'll be back. All right, hey, at CollectCallFrom on YouTube. It's gonna be Kentucky, the Kentucky hearing. All right, it'll be back. You heard them. They're gonna take a 5-minute break. We'll be back. Please follow. It's free 99. Doesn't cost you anything. And also jump on over to YT YouTube. Gracias. All right. I appreciate you guys, and I'll be back.